Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Digital Classroom. And today it's all about something that you guys keep asking me about: backups and backup strategy, but most of all, data recovery. So don't click away. This one can literally save your life or your images. Okay, so you may or may not know that Anouk and I actually run a computer company for over 18 years. I think actually close to 20 years. Now, one of the things that we really dreaded was if somebody came in with a laptop and it went like, Frank, help. I lost all my data, my hard drive crashed. And we go like, okay, your hard drive crashed. Do you have a backup? And they go like, actually we do. Because when we bought the hard drive, we told them to make a C and a D drive. And we just go like, oh, you realize that's the same drive? And they go like, no, we didn't. Now, I don't want to put consumers down, but often consumers don't know how a computer works. They literally think if they see a C and a D drive, they have two drives. So if one fails, the other is still there. So they literally make backups from the C drive to the D drive, while it's the same drive. Now, when we sold computers to companies or even to consumers, we actually always gave them an extra external hard drive. We sold it, of course, we didn't give it away, but hey, you know what I mean. And often when those clients came back and they said, hey, I have data loss, we often ask them like, hey, did you use that external hard drive? And they went like, no. So a lot of people don't realize how important it is to actually make those backups. Now, what do we use in the studio? Now, we always used several external hard drives on my main computer and one NAS to store everything on. But at one point, you have to realize that when you use several different hard drives, if you have to upgrade one, let's say from a 2 terabyte to a 4 terabyte, it takes a lot of time to copy that over. You have a risk of data damage, of course. And well, I just don't want to spend that much time. And when a hard drive fails, you have to replace that hard drive and back up everything from your Synology NAS in our case, or your other backup system. And let's be honest, if during that copying your Synology or any other device crashes, you lose everything. So that's why we actually use a DAS next to our computer. That's a direct attached storage system. So it uses USB-C or it uses USB 3 or whatever. And we use a NAS, so that's a network attached storage system. So what is the main advantage of that? In those systems, there are actually 5 or 7 or whatever drives. And those drives are, well, configured as a RAID solution. And RAID can have many different forms. Just look online if you want to know those different forms. But what they do is they build in extra security. And they also build in a little bit of fake extra security. But I'm going to tell you that in a second. That extra security means that, for example, you're using 5 drives, but you only store data for, let's say, 3.5 drives. So those drives have separate data on separate drives. So if one drive fails, you can actually put in just a new drive and it rebuilds itself. Sounds amazing, right? If you want to update from a 2 terabyte to a 4 terabyte, no problem. Just change one drive, make sure you put in a bigger drive, put in the new drive, and it will rebuild itself. Sounds amazing. And this is actually where also the fake security comes from. A lot of people that switch from external backups and external drives to, for example, a DAS system, we actually go like, okay, now I have 5 drives, it's actually 3.5 drives in storage, approximately, so now I'm safe. But they don't calculate what happens if 2 drives fail. It will never happen, but it can happen. What happens when my DAS fails? Or what happens? There's so many options in computers. So that's why we actually always advise use a DAS system and a NAS system. So we use the DAS next to our computer and we use a Synology NAS. So what kind of drives do you put in those? Can you just go into a computer store and buy any drive? Not really. You have to be careful with this. So one of the tips I always give people, if you're a gamer or if you are heavy into Photoshop or heavy into Lightroom or video editing, you need SSD drives. You don't need SSD drives, those are solid state drives. You don't need those for example, your data storage, for your bookkeeping, or even your images. They don't have to be on a solid state drive. So what I use, my catalog is on a solid state drive. It's really fast. I have another solid state drive for my swap files from Photoshop, and we actually use extra memory in our computer. We use 64 gigs, and half of it is dedicated for RAM cache and a RAM drive. It's really, really fast. It's even faster than an SSD. But hey, that's a little bit too technical maybe. Let's keep it simple. So can you put any drive inside your DAS or NAS? In essence, yes. They're normal spinner drives. These are spinner drives because there's something spinning inside. And these drives aren't that expensive, and you can put any drive in. There's only one thing you have to realize. Now, in a normal system, a drive is only accessed when you access the drive. In a DAS or NAS system, there's always something going on. So these drives have to be, well, they have to be designed to be on 24/7, 365 days a year. They have to be constantly on. And those drives have a little bit of a different specifications. So for example, this is a Seagate drive, and it's actually labeled as a NAS hard drive. So make sure you check these out. Now, if you talk to a gamer, they go like, oh, those drives aren't good. And they look at the specs and they go like, no, they're too slow. Oh, they only have so much cache, and nah, you need an SSD. An SSD is incredibly expensive, so don't do that. Get those NAS hard drives. It's a totally different application that you use it for. So, why this video? Well, there's something that can always happen. You can lose data. Now, if you lose data from a drive like this, you have to go to a company and you actually have to use data recovery. Now, you can use data recovery software yourself, but when you get something back, it won't have the original name of the file. It will actually say a weird number .jpeg or .doc or whatever you lost. And you don't know if everything will come back. So we recently updated actually these NAS drives, 4 terabytes, to these 4 terabyte drives. So why the heck do I upgrade a 4 terabyte NAS drive to a 4 terabyte different NAS drive? Only because I like the label more? No. There's something you guys have to realize. We're using a Synology NAS, and when we have data loss with this drive, I can probably just claim it under warranty and get a new drive and try to get data recovery back, or hire a company that's really expensive to get my data back. However, when I change these drives over for the Iron Wolves, now I'm covered by Seagate. Because if something happens in my Synology NAS, I can literally just bring the drive to Seagate, or the whole NAS preferably, of course, and they will actually use magic. We visited them, and it's literally magic. I will leave a link below from the video we created on that data recovery center in Amsterdam. But they will literally recover your data for free. So when you are in the market now of buying new drives, at least buy a NAS hard drive, but preferably check out the Seagate Iron Wolves, because they are covered with free data recovery. Now, as you know, I love LaCie, and a lot of the LaCie hard drives, like the LaCie Rugged series and the external drives, if they have Seagate Iron Wolves inside, they will actually be labeled that they also have free data recovery. So make sure if you are in the market for an external drive, just go to the LaCie Rugged series, because you have free data recovery. Now, some people might see this video and they go like, Frank, I never had a hard drive failed. Again, me neither. But we ran a computer company for many, many years, and at least once or twice a week, somebody came in with massive hard drive failures. And over the years, the hard drives have become way, way better. But how about lightning? How about water damage? How about dust, or in an environment when there's, you know, the list goes on and on and on why a hard drive can fail. And it's not always the hard drives fail, but it can be something that you drop or whatever. So make sure that you're covered. And these Iron Wolves, well, let me put it this way. This is the final part of my insurance that I know I can get my data back. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Smash that like button if you like what we do, and hit that bell to get notifications. But most of all, subscribe to our channel and leave comments, of course, and tell other people about our channel. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. See you again next time. Bye-bye.